What would you do if in a random night you discovered someone sneaking into your grandparents' old farm? And worse, they're live streaming it on TikTok. But that's not what worries you the most. It's what they can find there. Hey guys, I'm Brent, and this is my Dark Corner. Today's story is one of those urban explorations that didn't go as planned, but I won't say too much because anything could spoil the experience. What I can tell is that this story comes from the Reddit forum No Sleep. I'll leave the link in the description below if you want to read it yourself. So let's not waste any more time and get into it. But first, if you enjoy horror stories as much as I do, don't forget to like and subscribe. I've got more of them coming your way. Alright, let's get into the story. It's late. I'm doing my usual. Sitting in bed long past the time I need to be asleep, scrolling mindlessly through TikTok. It's a bad habit, I know. But you're here reading Reddit, right? I lazily flicked the last watched video away. A cat wearing a helmet fashioned out of a melon. And a live feed takes its place. It's dark, with some torches or headlamps making almost a strobing effect in some crusty old building. Ghost hunters, or something like that. Not my thing. I raise my finger to scroll again, but at the last second something catches my eye and stops me dead. The camera pans past a black and white framed photograph on the wall. It's my grandparents, on their wedding day. I sit stock still, watching intently as the camera moves forward. I would recognize that photo anywhere, having examined it countless times as a child visiting their farmhouse. It was my favorite picture of all the ones hanging on their walls. No, this TikToker couldn't be my grandparents' old farm, surely? It was true, the place had been left to fall in disrepair after their passing. I glanced at their handle, a Benton Explorer 305 with zeros instead of O's. I make a mental note to check their page later to see where else they've been, but right now, I can't bring myself to look away. If I do, the feed might disappear forever. They move further into the living room. A leather armchair once well worn, now sunken and torn beyond repair. The fireplace, exposed stone, an enormous oak mantel, once the proud focal point of the room, now warped and cracked. The lucky horseshoes that hung above it now littered the hearth, dull and lifeless. They had always been polished, glinting in the firelight of an evening. The person holding the camera is speaking. I hardly noticed, so wrapped up I was in nostalgia and outrage. "There are so many horseshoes around here," he's saying. "Over the doors, one laid into the kitchen floor, and these ones looked like they used to hang above the fireplace. Now, I know this is a farm and they probably had horses, but they're just everywhere. Everyone knows horseshoes are good luck charms, but unless you're into folklore, you might not know they also warned off evil spirits." I roll my eyes. Common knowledge. Another TikToker playing at being a paranormal expert. Still, his words sent a prickle crawling up the back of my neck. There were a lot of horseshoes at the farm. Granny was always a tad superstitious, lucky heather, four-leaf clovers, that sort of thing. Grandpa, not so much. Horses hadn't even been kept there in decades. For the most part, I loved staying at Granny and Grandpa's. Apart from one thing, going to the bathroom alone. The only bathroom was upstairs, the furthest end of the house from the kitchen. To a kid, it felt like an epic journey. Going up wasn't so bad. The moment the living room door shut, you were in a cool, silent passageway. All sounds of life muffled by the thick wood. The still air pressed in on you. You'd walk along, turn back on yourself, then climb the stairs. The upstairs landing split in 2 levels. You had to step down onto the back landing and turn right to reach the bathroom. It was coming back down that was the problem. Since I was old enough to go unaccompanied, the moment I turned that corner at the top of the stairs, it would hit me, like an icy finger pressing into the small of my back. Run. I'd bow down those stairs as fast as my little legs could carry me, never daring to glance back. Bad things would happen if I looked. I couldn't explain it then, but remembering it now, it felt like a black mass sipping from the walls, coalescing, waiting. And all it would take to give it form was a terrified look over my shoulder. Then the wooden door would creak open, and suddenly, color, warmth, noise, the family home alive again, like press and play after a film had been paused. Now, on the live feed, they approached that very oak door, hanging on one hinge, swaying ever so slightly. Above it, a huge iron horseshoes. I don't remember it, but it feels important, like the last desperate talisman against something. My clammy hand grips the phone tighter. They shouldn't go in there. The comments fly past. It's so creepy. Bad vibes. Did anyone else just see a shadow? With a shaky hand, I start typing a warning. Don't go in, just leave. But as I'm typing, I see him push the door. Then, his sharp intake of breath. What the? My phone slips from my hand. Two gaunt figures stand side by side in the passageway. Nightgowns, wide, impossible grins stretching paper gray skin. Eyes nothing but pits, holes into the inky depths of hell. And worse, Granny and Grandpa, unmistakably, hand in hand. Though only a second passes, it feels like I stare into those twisted faces for half an eternity. Chaos erupts, the TikToker boats, the camera lurching as he runs. For a split second, I swear their grins twisted into snarls. I am transfixed, listening to his frantic breaths, the torchlight careening across the walls as he stumbles for the exit, 5-6 paces, almost free. Then, an ungodly screech blasts through my speakers, making me leap off the bed. Life has ended. The feed's gone. I tap the screen. Nothing. Search the handle. Nothing. Heart pounding. I sit in silence. I should have warned him sooner. Then, a notification. A direct message. No username. Come to us. No ambiguity. I sighed. Reach for the notebook by my bed and cross another line of the list. An extra deep grave hadn't worked. Rocks in their mouths, black salt, holy water from Lourdes, a stake through the heart. Nothing keeps them down. Maybe it's the land, maybe a curse, or maybe that black thing I found on the landing. I glanced down the list. Next up, decapitation. I don't relish it. I send my brother a quick text. Trouble at mill. Our code forget your shovel, it's time to dig him up again. The worst part, every time they return, they come back worse. The first time, they looked like themselves, Dad, but still them. Tonight's nightmare versions were something else. We're feeding them, somehow giving them power. But we can't just let them roam, especially when others get caught in the crossfire. I think this is going to require some outside help. What I love the most about this story is that we don't know why it happens. It just is. And I actually love horror stories like that. Sometimes not knowing makes them way more interesting. Of course, there are times I wish I had more answers, not gonna lie. Well, that's it for today. If you enjoyed this creepy tale, don't forget to like and subscribe. Maybe share it with someone who also loves horror stories. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye!